Hello, Judy here from Thistledew Creations. I'm just back from lunch. We did these cards this morning and decided to do the tags next. That I wanted to do in a similar style. I've kind of prepped them to be more of a strip collage than a layered up collage like those ones were. And the first one I wanted to do was this little boy with the pink suit. So that's why I've got the pink papers ripped up. And then I thought, I dug into my photo box and I've got some pictures of my Aunt Susie. And I thought I would do a couple with Aunt Susie on them. I'll send them to her. She'll like that. I never really think to use actual family photos, and I'm gonna start doing it because they're there. Why not make them into something special, right? And then Susie can enjoy them, put them up in her trunk. And then when she's done with them, Carrie or Shay can have them. Nice little memento of their mom and grandma. So these two are Susie when she was a little girl. And this one is her and me together when I was a baby and she was a little girl. So I thought that would be a good one too. And these are just photocopies of the pictures. They're not the actual pictures. So that's always a good thing, especially if you've only got one copy of a picture. Just take a copy of it. And the other thing that's good about doing photocopies of pictures is then you could take it and do it, instead of in a black and white format, you could do it in a sepia tone. With most computers, you can change the tone of the whole picture to be more of a brownish tone. I didn't do that before I printed these ones, but I certainly will start doing that. So this was October, it says 56, but I was born in 66, so it can't be October 56, unless that's just, no, it definitely says 56. So I know I'm not 10 years older than I thought I was. There's some question of whether I was born in 65 or 66, but I know I wasn't born in 56. So that must have been just something programmed into the camera, the date being wrong. I don't know. It's an odd one. So I've got them prepped for these three. I wanted to just show you this. This little boy came with a white edge like this lady has here, and I've already inked him, but I just wanted to show you what a difference it makes. That edge is still a little wide for my liking on this one, but when you ink them, they don't look so bad. I think it looks bad to have that white edge around. Not so much that it looks bad, but sometimes it makes it stand out from your project a little more than you would like it to. I want it to blend in a little more in some cases. I find that white edge just makes it look like, I guess it makes it look cheap because it makes it look like a sticker. And I think that's what this is a sticker. So it is what it is, but I didn't want him to look so stickerish. So rather than fussy cutting him like I just did with Susie, I decided to ink him instead. And I'm gonna go around again. It also gives his face a little bit more brown tone instead of a gray tone. There, that's good. So now we get back down to doing our collages. We'll start with him. I inked up my cards already. I didn't think you needed to watch me do that. I inked them front and back with vintage photo around the edges. I didn't do these pieces yet, but I do want to ink these pieces. So I'll just go ahead and do that while you watch. I just love working with these textures. And then I'm going to try this barely shows up on the brown cardstock. Do it anyway. On the other projects I used the ground espresso on the brown papers. And then the vintage photo will look good on the pink. And I just literally just tore these into strips. I didn't get too concerned about the shape, so when I get putting them down I might have to alter them a little bit. But let's go ahead and put this one together. The other thing I put here on the table is some negatives that I think these someone sent me. Trying to see if it's any pictures I recognize. I don't think it's going to be. Yeah, I really can't. There's a picture of a couple birds in a cage and a little girl in a toy room. And looks like a grandma and a little girl together, but these are not people I know. So I think I got these in a swap. So all I'm gonna do with this is cut it up the middle and then cut it in two. And I'm gonna have it just poking out one side of my little collage here. So I'm gonna start here with the, actually I'm gonna start with that. I think that'll look good right beside the pink. I'm gonna need to use the 3-in-1 glue for this, and I don't know how it's gonna react. This will be interesting. Better grab my tweezers for this. There. So I'm gonna start by putting some just around the outside edge. A little bit through the middle, and just put that along the edge of that tag, just in a bit so you can see the edge of the tag. And hopefully that will glue that down. I think it will. Doesn't appear to be eating into the acetate, which is good. I think that's what slides are made out of. I'm not sure. And then let's get our pieces here. We'll start with the pink beside that because I thought that looked nice. And it doesn't need the 3-in-1. I'll switch. Oh yeah, it will, because it's going to be gluing on top of that. So I'll go ahead and use the 3-in-1 for this piece. Put that covering up the square cut edge of it. Move that up just a little. And then I think we'll do the brown paper next. And I don't want it taller than the pink, I don't think. So I'm just gonna nip that off and re-ink that edge. And now I'll just use the glue stick. I love this textured paper. It's some sort of packaging paper. I picked it up. It was a smallish roll of it at the Mission thrift store in Coburg. And I didn't know what it was, but then since then I've seen other people using it on YouTube and they're calling it packaging paper. So I imagine someone just thought it was too special to throw away. And I'm gonna go back up tall again on this side with this. And see this little boy, he's carrying some sort of a pie that looks like it's got like fancy frosting or something on it. So I think it would look good beside this. Actually, I think the glue stick was working pretty good for this. So let's go ahead and use the glue stick. You just have to use quite a bit, that's all, to get it to really get into all the crevices. And then how are we going to have this? We're going to have this sort of like this. I like that little V that it kind of creates there. I want to be able to see the music down the side here. You can hardly see the texture on that brown paper. Might have been a waste to use it there, but... And then I'll put this little guy sort of over on this side. He probably is going to need some tacky glue, but I'm going to move him up. There. Fancy little pie. Now, I think maybe a little bit of this pink flowery stuff down at the bottom here underneath his feet. It seems kind of contradictory to use something so feminine on a picture of a little boy, but he's dressed in pink and we've got pink accents on here and it's almost Easter, so I'm kind of just in the mode to use pretty things. I'm just going to cover the bottom edge of that, what do you call it? What do you call it? Negative. I'm going to use that, just cover that bottom edge. And then maybe I'll do a little button cluster up in this corner to cover the top edge of that. I don't like those really square cuts for some reason. I need to get a little bowl of buttons pre-sorted for these kinds of times. There's one that's kind of purpley pink. And there's a white one. And there's a fairly big wooden one that might just suit that situation. So for those, I generally use the 3-in-1 so that I make sure they stay stuck down. I'm gonna put a big circle of it for this wooden one. And then just a couple of little drops for the smaller buttons. And that'll do the trick for those. And purple is a nice little touch with the pink accents. He's cute. And then some ribbon to go with that. Maybe this pink polka dot, which I would not normally be so inclined to use, except that since I put that darker pink at the bottom, this just might be perfect up at the top. And cut it on an angle. I always like to do that. And then I'm going to do a lark's head knot right through that hole. The other thing I could do, and maybe I will, is put a reinforcer around that hole, because I do have a bunch of those pre-cut. I do have a better button box too. It's easier to find things in. Bring that over. I have all these different organizing things pre-made, and then I forget about them quite often. So I think maybe a black one in this case, so that it really shows up nice against the music. And then on the back, it'll be also just a nice accent. I could do a different color on the back, but I don't think I need to. And for that, I can just use the tacky glue. And I will try to do it with the tweezers because I get my fingers all gluey. Doesn't need a lot of glue. And it needs to go all the way around. Make sure those buttons aren't going to fall off on me if I turn it over. So I just have the back plain. It's file folder. just like a grayish craft paper, cardstock file folder. And then I've inked around the edges with vintage photo. So you can easily write on this with pen or marker, even pencil. Oh, I like the way this is coming together, this little guy. So Susie's will be cute too. Got a couple of little things set aside for Susie's. It's just been a while since Susie and I did our swap, so it'd be nice to send her another little something for Easter. She might not get it in time for Easter, but she'll get it. That's the main thing. If I get it in the mail tomorrow, she might get it in time. So I'm gonna leave that long like that. That looks cute. And he feels like he might need some weight on him. Maybe I'll put him underneath my buttons here for a few minutes. My jar of buttons has a little bit of heaviness to it. So now let's do little Susie here in her overalls. I've already inked her up, haven't I? I'm just gonna give her a little bit more. She's very gray in this one. I'm gonna have to find all my old family pictures and go in and alter them so that they're more sepia toned, especially this one. This is really gray. Just brown us up a little bit. We usually brown up like berries in the summer, so we don't want to be too gray. I don't know what's going on my cheek there. And that was probably before I was 2 years old, because we lived in West Virginia until I was 2. And then we moved up to Canada. My dad's from Canada, from Cobourg, Ontario. And my mom grew up in Young's Bottom, West Virginia. And I was born in Charleston, which is the state capital. My sister and I both were born there. And then when she was 6 weeks old, we made the trek up to Ontario in Dad's 35 Chev. Moved up and they were building us a house right next door to Granny and Grandpa's. Well, not right next door, 2 doors down. My Uncle Alan got his house first because he had his family first. Stephen, my cousin, is about a year older than me. We lived next door to each other growing up, which was kind of nice. All my other cousins are down in the States, first cousins. So Stephen and Scott being right next door was nice. So here again, do I want to do the same sort of pink on the bottom? Oh, can't forget the film strip. I think I'm going to do this on the other side this time. Got a blank spot here, so it makes sense to put that there, to me, in my mind. And then I did the pink right beside it last time. I think I'm going to put the brown beside it this time, so the pink can be right underneath Susie. Oh, and I didn't use the 3-in-1. I might have to go back if that lifts up there. Feels like it's going to stick right now, but it might not stay stuck. And then a pink strip. And then my Anaglypta wallpaper. I just love this stuff. Always looking for it at thrift stores and yard sales, even if it's a part roll, because I use such small pieces. I don't need it to be a full roll by any means. Now it's a little wide. It's going to cover up so much of the pink. I'll put that square bit at the top there. That'll fit. Not how I had it pictured. I had this piece down here in my mind, but it wasn't going to work out, so. And then Susie Q, I'm going to cover up most of it. I'm going to put her up towards the top so that if she's in a pocket, you're not going to lose her in there. Maybe I'll make a little journal to send these in. So I want that down so that I can still put a hole protector on there. And then I had thought that I might use this rose somewhere, and I could maybe do a half of a rose to kind of cover up her feet, because her feet, you can't really see them. It's kind of ruining the vibe for me. Either that, or I thought a couple of little daisies, maybe like this daisy with the stem in front of her feet. Now it has one of those stickers on it that holds it out, but I don't really want that, so I'm just going to tear that off. It's already a two-dimensional, two-layer sticker, so I'll leave that, but I don't want it sticking up that far. So I'm going to use tacky glue all over the back of this and down the stem. There. And then hole protector. I'm almost tempted to do a pink one. Where'd my hole protectors go? Right here. I'll put some buttons on there too. I don't think I have many pink ones. That's the only thing. There's a circle that's kind of pink. Pinkish. And then on the back, it doesn't even have to be the same color on the back, but I probably do have another one that's pinkish. I don't remember what I punched those out of. Probably gonna want more of those. Just dig them out while I'm in here. Probably want 6 more. Often when I'm cutting some stuff out and I have little bits, corners and stuff left over, I will just cut circles. If they fit, I cut them, and then later I can go back and make them into hole protectors. I just take my hole punch, which has quite a large hole that it punches, which is just about perfect for these tags, and just try to get it in the middle. Her head could have went down just a little further, but we're gonna roll with it. That's my day off today. I've had a busy, I guess, the last 5 days, 6 days. Saturday, Sunday, Monday I worked. Tuesday I was at my dad's for foot day, which was part fun and part work. And then mostly fun. And then yesterday I worked my long day. Wednesdays I worked till 8 at night. So noon to 8 is all I work, but I always end up being on the road doing something before I go to work, so it ends up being over 12-hour day away from the house, which is exhausting for me at my age. Not that I'm a frail old lady or anything, but it's just not the same as when I was younger. It takes a lot more out of me than it used to, being away from work that long. You can see why people that are in their 60s start to work fewer hours. Now, if I could just do this all day, every day, I would, and it wouldn't tire me out one little bit. I'd do this all day, film and craft, and then all evening I would watch TV and fussy cut. And I would have no problem doing that. But somehow when you're going to work and it's not a physical job, it's more mental. It's more mental tiredness than physical tiredness. If anything, I'm tired from sitting in one spot too long, a desk job. So there's Susie Q. Let's do another Susie Q. And again with the film, negative. I like that detail on the side, especially when you're using old pictures. It's not the negative from those pictures, but that doesn't matter because you're not really seeing what it is, you're just seeing the edge of it. Just the idea of it is all you're getting. And here, this one fits perfectly right here, so that's where it's gonna go. That was not planned. Total whimsy. Enjoy it. And some vintage photo on our edges. Maybe here is where I will use the rose. There's also a rose stenciling design on these pink pieces, but you can't really see it. So much of it's been torn into such thin little strips. I love these textured wallpapers. I think I've said that, but I've done like 3 videos with it now, so I don't know if I said it in this video yet. I have one other video where I made a tag that was just corrugated cardboard and anaglypta. It was a different pattern. I had another roll that was a different pattern. I'm not sure where it is. Don't think it's all gone, but I can't see it in my craft room right now. So let's see how I want to layer these 3. Never want the white one on the bottom, so put this one first. And that does seem to be sticking, I'm surprised. So something like that. And then I said I was going to try to use this rose. So I just got this in Happy Mail this week. And I tend to try to use some of the things up that I get right away. Because if I don't, I'll put them away and then I forget about them every time. So I'm kind of wanting this down in the corner here, but I can still have some pink underneath it and some white underneath it. Put the pink up so you can see more of it. Aha! We have a plan. Way up, leaving room for my hole protector. And you can see a little bit of that rose there too. And then this one can come back down a bit, and I'm leaving those up on purpose. If I do it this way, that would work too, but then this is going to be completely covered. And I could put it kind of crooked. That looks good too. Oops, I picked Susie up there. And I decided to do it this way and a little bit crooked there. And not up quite as far as the pink, but up a little bit. I'm gonna miss or lose almost all of this bottom edge, but I really want to use the rose, so we're doing it. And this is kind of thickish. This seems to be 2 layers of paper. It was a pink layer and then a green layer, and the green layer had these little leaves and tendrils and stuff, but I don't think I'm going to use them. That green is a little bright for my liking. I'm going to use as much of this as I can. I'm going to get it on the card, but if it goes off the edge, I'm just going to cut it off. Just a little bit through the middle here where it's more intricate. Oh, and again, I think I want Susie on first so that I can tuck her feet under there. Put her over onto the brown. And then the rose goes in front of her. So it just fits. And that's definitely going to need some weight, I think. That's pretty. And we'll do a couple more of these. Although they're not really the same pink. I could cut some out of the other pink paper that I have here. Or I could do them out of brown or black. I'm thinking I want to do brown ones, or maybe, well, I rejected that other green because it was too bright. I was just thinking of doing that. I think I'm going to do brown ones. I've got some of those pre-cut completely. I'll put these pink ones back. I think Susie's going to be surprised and delighted when she gets this. At least I hope she is. And I'm going to use the 3-in-1 because this brown paper is from a bakery box. And I think it's just a little bit waxy. Got like a waxy coating on it. Or maybe it's a plasticky coating. It might have been waxy back in the day, but now they use plastic kind of thing. You can kind of see that white streak on it. That's where it's been kind of bent when I put it through the punch. And that doesn't show up that well on the back, so I'm just going to put some dark ink on it. Like that, and around it. A little bit more ink. And then I think I would like some of this lace as the topper for this one. And I might need to, I think if I can get it through, if I could double it over, I might be able to get it through. What I'll do is I'll double it over and put it through and tie a bow or a knot instead of a lark's head. I don't think I'm going to get all of it through in one go, but I can get it through like this. Actually, if I do this and then just that and then wrap something around and around. Pink string would be perfect. Let's see what I've got that's pinkish. This is kind of pink. Oh, I've got this rose gold, which will be really nice. Just enough of it to do it too. So I'm going to wrap it from the back to the front. And then just wrap it back around the back. I think I can come back to the front to tie my little knot. Tie it fairly tight. And then just tie a little knot with it. My fingers feel so big when I do this kind of thing. There. not going to attempt a bow. I'm just trying to do another knot so it'll hold. And this stuff is like from the 70s or something, and it really unravels and kind of curls. So I'm just going to let it do that. I think that's kind of cute. It's going to do it eventually anyway, so I might as well make it part of the design. That is adorable. And then you can kind of fan these out. I kind of like them this way, but whatever way they want to stay is fine. Love it. And then me and Susie, let's do us. Okay. So same sort of plan for the design. I just don't have an obvious spot where this goes this time. So what did I do? I did 2 on the right and 1 on the left. So I'll do this one on the left as well. Take the decision making out of it. And then the brown, no, the pink is the right length, I think, to go here. I'll just push it up a little bit, but it has to be inked first. At least in my world it does. Might not need to be inked in your world, and that's okay. That's one of the great things about this whole thing, is you do what you want to do. So often I have to do what someone else wants to do. It's nice to just do what I want to do. At work, with some of my family, not all of them, but some of them. This piece, I think I'll let it go right up through the middle. That one goes all the way down to the bottom. And then this awesome piece of anaglypta. Give it a nice dark edge. And put that right over to the other side. I'm going to move it up. No, I'm going to leave it down. Sorry. I'm just deciding in my head at the time that I'm talking where I'm going to put that picture. And I think I'm going to put the picture up high, again, so you can see it when it's in a pocket. It's going to cover the top edge of all of those unless I move it down to about there. I'll brown that up a little bit more. This a bigger picture, I'm putting the glue stick all over the back, and then I'll put the tacky glue around the edge. I should have my tweezers. Yeah, I want to see those strips above, so I'm going to put us about halfway down, tilt us just so. And then I think we'll do a little piece of lace underneath us. I was just thinking maybe instead of lace, I would use a piece of cardboard, but I think the lace looks nice. sort of our little tuffet that we're sitting on. And there's not much pink showing on this one, so maybe a little bit of that really pretty rosebud stuff too on top of that. Yeah, I love it, the way it looks when you layer up all the pretty things. Actually, I think I'm going to do just 2 of these. Save that for something else. And then what else can I do? Oh, yeah, I need to do the hole protectors. And again, these ones that I've got out here are not all that pink. Now that I've got the brighter pink on there, maybe I'll do purple. Actually, I've got some brighter green on this one, so maybe I'll use the bright green. Just kind of eye it to get it sort of centered as best you can. Sometimes they're just a little bit off center. And then I'll put a little one of these up here too. Just off on the side like that. And I think I'll use that pink ribbon again, if I can find it. Oh, there it is. You're probably yelling at me through the screen. It's right there in front of you. Put that away now. And this is maybe a little short, but we're going to go with it. It's certainly the right color. And actually, I do like a bright, fresh green with a bright, fresh pink like this. Not so much with the paler pink, but with this bright pink that I've got on the accents here, it works better. Looks very springy. There we are. So Susie, if you are watching, these are coming your way, and you might even already have them. I will try to hang on to them until I hear from you that you've got the package. Hopefully you're watching my videos, and I wouldn't want it to ruin the surprise. So there we go. Clean this up and decide what's next. So if you've enjoyed watching me make these tags and the journaling cards that I made as well this morning, they've probably all aired in the last week or so. If you've enjoyed it and you want to see more, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Most of all, have a great day and happy crafting.